Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joined from a remote location somewhere in the backwaters of Glossop. Well, the lights are on, but is there anyone home? It's Mr. Taylor.
Oh yeah, I'm in. The lights are definitely on.
Welcome to the only conspiracy podcast that wants to start up a conspiracy-themed restaurant. We'll call it QAnon nom 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 nom.
Nom 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 nom
nom nom nom nom. How's it going?
And tastes delicious.
Well, some maybe. Smells a bit off. Well, I hope you guys and girls are keeping safe and well. It's been another week, and we're up to 1, 2, 3. It's easy as ABC. Episode 123.
Yes. Oh yes.
It's pretty good actually. Did you ever think we'd get this far in terms of episode count?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't think we'd have that much support.
He didn't have that much faith. We couldn't have got this far if it wasn't for you guys listening at home. So thank you for all you new listeners and repeat offenders. We hope you're still enjoying the show. We're celebrating a UFO historical event, an ongoing mystery this week. We'll be talking about the Phoenix Lights. Some call it the lights over Phoenix. Semantics, really. And the 24th anniversary of this still unexplained phenomenon. When on March the 13th, 1997, thousands witnessed a triangular black UFO with amber lights and what appeared to be a mothership. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Oh my God, it is a great topic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a brilliant one as well, and also know that there's a few viewers out there who've been waiting to
definitely. Well, this is a much requested episode topic, so thank you guys for sending your messages in and requesting that. We do take your listener suggestions pretty seriously, and if there's something that you guys want to hear, we'll do our damnedest to try and get that done for you.
We look at every single email or message you send us. Well,
it's been a bit of a busy week for us, hasn't it, mate? Other than getting ready for the podcast this week, what have you been up to?
Well, apart from Superpod 3,
yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Just doing odd jobs here and there. That's it, really.
Well, if you don't know, we took part in Superpod, helped raise some cash for Comic Relief. It was pretty awesome, actually, and it was really cool to see everybody getting involved. There were really some great podcasts that were involved, and if you haven't seen it, go out there and watch it. It's, definitely. You can, and we'll post it. We've posted it on Twitter anyway, so you can go over there, follow the link, and you can still watch the full day's worth of podcast. It's a great event. Like I say, raise some cash, and there's still time for you to
definitely
dip your hand in your pocket and put a few quid in. Little superstar podcat that she's now known as, my cat Harley Quinn. She's now getting a bit of an ego, demanding all sorts, saying, I want an Instagram page. Do you know what I mean? I need my own social media. She's not been on screen once, though, is she? She every time she dives in, she wants to get a face in the camera. Always sitting there between us, like. Other than that, it was really fantastic to get involved. And like I say, you can still catch that if you follow the link. We'll put the link in the description anyway, so if not, missed it. And if not, we'll probably be posting our bit at some point in the near future as well.
Or even go to our site and it should be there as well.
On our site?
Our site.
Maybe. I'll have to update it so it is. But I'll make sure that there's some sort of link there.
In the future.
Yeah, well done, Taylor. Making jobs for me. Well,
what have you been up to this week? Have you been up to?
Like I say, it was busy trying to get set up for Superpod. I was really happy with the way it went. There was there was some bits where it's live, so it's a bit nerve-wracking anyway, and for some reason, just knowing that it's live puts a bit of pressure on.
A bit more.
When we're recording now, it just feels dead natural,
yeah.
quite happy to do it.
Conversation between us about.
Whereas as soon as you kind of like got a camera in front of you and it's a bit different, but like I enjoyed
bit
it.
Shy.
Bit a bit shy. Other than that, when it did a bit of fishing, that was I didn't catch anything.
I was going to say, apart from a cold or something.
It was quite all right actually. It didn't rain or anything, but like it was just one of them. It's nice to get out of the house in it for a bit and just do something.
Good exercise.
So other than that, been a bit like I say, busy week. Had 2 shows to prepare for, 1 live, this week's episode, loads of research. Just get it. You know how it is.
It all adds up.
Oh, you don't realise how much bloody work goes into this. So anyway. I think we've got Chain Connections coming up, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We've got a bit of an amazing turn of events here because we've got a hat trick winner. Yeah.
Yes.
Hat trick winner. Well, let's first of all we'll go into a couple of the answers that were wrong.
Yeah.
For Chain Connections this week.
Yeah.
So let's just go over the clues for last week, will you?
The clues were the first one was they come in all different sizes, colours, shapes.
Okay.
The second one was they have a land.
Right, yeah.
And the third one is it is in Britain.
And it's in Britain. Right, you see, some people guess Teletubbies.
Yeah.
We got a few Teletubbies. Well,
but
it does connect to the Teletubbies. They've got the colours, shapes, sizes, got different antennas. One carries a bag,
True.
And then they've got their own land, Tubby Land. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were invented and raised in, I'm assuming, like it is an English TV show. So in a lot of ways you're right, but it's not the right answer. M&M's as well. Don't know why that was an answer.
That's a good one. Although they're usually the same shape, aren't they? Usually, roughly.
Depends. Getting a
I've seen a square one.
Irregular, a bag of irregular sweets.
So they're joined together.
Well, our winner this week was Harriet Christabel, or AKA Woolly Ninja, or AKA the champion of Chain Connections, who guessed the correct answer of Lego.
Yes, Lego, them lovely little pieces.
It's just come in all shapes and sizes, different colours, don't they? Have you ever been to Legoland?
No, I haven't actually.
I haven't.
It's not that far from me.
It's quite close actually, but I actually got I won a competition and got some free tickets to Windsor Legoland and never went.
Why didn't you go?
I don't know. I just couldn't get. I just it's like one of them where I had other work commitments and I was like, oh, you know what? It's such an opportunity to go to Legoland just for the day and as a something fun. But no, I never got to go. So we've got a bunch more clues for you today. Those can be cryptic, audio, video, depending on whether we make a video episode or not, which those are coming back. Brian,
they are
you will enjoy Brian, make videos, make more videos.
We will. You can see these mugs soon.
We broke the lighting stuff, so we're back. We'll be sweet. We'll be back up and running soon. So anyway, but before that, we've got some Chain Connections for you.
Oh, we have indeed.
So, what are the clues this week, Mr. Taylor?
Clues this week, the first one is we abuse it daily, sometimes without knowing it.
Well, we've all had those dreams.
I wonder if it attached to this second one.
Right, okay, go on. What's the second clue?
People have tried to make it free. Oh, I suppose.
Right, okay.
And the third one is the world needs it.
Right, okay. So we abuse it daily sometimes without realising it.
Yeah.
We try to free it.
Yeah, to make it free.
And...
And the world needs it.
The world needs it.
Yeah.
Now, as usual, I don't know the answer to this, so I'm as stumped as you guys. But while everyone thinks about it, we've got a episode associate this week, or affiliate. This week, this episode's brought to you in part by Audible. An Audible trial offers you a great way for new customers to try audiobooks and make the most of every moment. With their free trial, customers will receive one free audiobook of their choice that's theirs to keep, even if you cancel your subscription. Prime members will get 2 audiobooks in their trial. The availability of choice from worldwide leaders and the largest selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, new releases, sci-fi, romance, mysteries, classics, and more. After 30 days, you will receive 1 book every month for just $7.99, and that's automatically renews, and you can cancel any time. Download and listen to the world's best storytellers, enjoy audiobooks, original series, and more on the free app. And keep yourself entertained. I'm currently listening to Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and that's pretty awesome. I got that using my 3-month book, and you can too. Check the link in the description. I actually think it's a really good service, Audible. Like I say, if you're a Prime member, you get 2 books, and if you listen to a lot of books, or you work shifts, or when you've got a lot of time to listen to stuff, podcasts and audiobooks, spot on. You can get bored of listening to a podcast, stick your audiobook on, listen to a few chapters, move on. Anyway,
you don't need any radio nowadays.
If you do want to sign up, there'll be a link in the description. And that really helps us out. So
it does,
there you go.
Get down there and have a listen.
So, well, we all know why you're tuning in, because we're going to be talking about alien UFO-related high strangeness. And this week's no different. The Phoenix Lights was a phenomenon, and a series of widely sighted UFOs, or unidentified flying objects. They were observed over the skies of the US, over Arizona, Nevada, and parts of Mexico back in March the 13th, 1997, meaning that it was a 24th anniversary just the other day. For those reasons, we thought we'd bring the story and, talk it over and discuss what the witnesses had kind of spotted and seen that night. Now, a lot of the incidents do pertain to the 1997 incident. A lot of the kind of witnesses.
Surrounding areas,
Now, there was one of the witnesses who was a MD, a lady called Lynn, right?
Yeah.
She'd actually had photographic evidence of the same lights over Arizona and Phoenix from around 2004, when her and her husband spotted some UFO strange lights, and she had her experience. Now, she photographed this object in the sky. Now, again, she wasn't like a kook. She wasn't like anyone just spotted.
She's normal.
Ringing up the police saying they'd seen something. This woman also worked on the rescue side of the mountain rescue. So she was used to speaking to the authorities, and she knew her way around.
She knew her way around,
exactly. So like when she sees these lights, she wanted to know what they were. She started contacting the government police officers, and she even said I'm actually, because in fact one of the times when she seen one of the lights was facing the mountain, which is local to Phoenix. So there's a big mountain range. And she said it was hovering towards the mountain, so she wanted to know what it was and if anybody could kind of give her any information. And they said, well, the airport's at the base of the mountain, so why don't you ring them? Now, she said she'd seen 2 events that night, one over the city and then one towards the mountain. So when she rang up the airport, and they said, well, we did actually pick stuff up on radar, but it wasn't 2 events, it was actually like 6. So they saw 6 events or 6 different lights, which he's attributed to different locations. So, the Phoenix Lights does go back a bit further than the 24 years that we give the anniversary to, but the fact is this incident was probably the biggest mass witnessing sighting of what we'd consider a UFO or unidentified flying object. So, obviously, depending on where you were that night, you saw the lights from different angles. You could have saw it from different altitudes, or even, your description of the craft could be different. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's going to be a lot of people who were just jumping on it and going, I saw a UFO too. I don't know, it's a big sausage-shaped UFO. Or just taking the piss, or just getting, maybe just wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But a majority of the sightings and majority of the descriptions were very similar. So
definitely.
And visible for around 300 miles, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the distance it was supposed to have covered. Do you know what I mean? About 300
3
miles.
miles, you mean?
No, 300 miles from the Nevada line through Phoenix to the edge of Tucson. Is about 300 miles, right? Yeah. So there were 2 events involved in the incident of triangular formations of lights that passed over the states, and a series of stationary lights seen over Phoenix as well. So, it's quite a really interesting one, isn't it? So, allegedly... Go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, the 4 lights, the 5 lights that turned up at 7 o'clock, that was supposed to have been the first incident, but it had actually been going on since 3 o'clock that afternoon. It was actually different times.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it?
Locations finding stuff.
It's the middle of the day, right? Are you gonna less likely to see these lights in the sky? But
because it's not dark.
This is the thing, right? We'll go into the reports because, like, later on when we talk about like the eyewitnesses, some of them suggested that they were just lights and it was a see-through sort of transparent object, whereas others said, well, we couldn't really see any stars, so it must have been a solid mass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if all they could see was darkness.
If it's pitch black and I can only see lights, right? It makes me feel like those lights are connected to a bigger craft, right? They're either individual objects or one big object, right? So now, if that was an object to the scale that they're saying, which is some reports say it was like football pitches worth, it was a couple of football pitches in size, right?
Roughly a mile.
So if they started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in broad daylight, surely somebody would have saw that.
Well, I don't think the bigger craft was seen in the afternoon. I think it was more like there was reports of small little lights and incidents that were happening around there, and there was on and off kind of things going off that day, realistically. And it wasn't just that region. Las Vegas apparently had an incident as well on that day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. From the Nevada line, there was incidents reported through Phoenix to the edge of Tucson, spanning over a distance of about 300 miles or 480 kilometers. Allegedly, the United States Air Force said that the lights could have been flares dropped by an A-10 Warthog aircraft in a training exercise. But but similar lights have been reported in the area between 2007 and 2008. But again, these events have been quickly dismissed as flares drops or a fighter craft or some sort of form of government interference or government exercise.
Well, but they were also that area was people seen it time and time again. They know what flares look like. They see it after the training's going on. At that time, there was
but
no
wasn't the report? This Lynn lady who runs the Phoenix Lights website now. She wrote a book on it, right? Mm-hmm. She claimed that she saw a object and it's one of the lights sort of dimmed out. Yeah, and it was almost like someone turning a dimmer switch down. But she still felt like it was there. Do you know what I mean? And it was like even though one of the lights dissipated, or disappeared, there were still 2 as bright. So if they were flares, surely they would have burnt out around about the same time. They don't have a sort of like a timer or not a built-in timer, but like a sort of shelf life in terms of when you light it. It runs out in certain
60
minutes.
Seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you think that they'd all burn out around about the same time, not others burn longer and brighter. It doesn't make sense that it's flares, in my opinion. But
it doesn't to me and the report afterwards.
Well, we'll go into that because I think in terms of theories, that does seem to be one of the theories that crops up quite a lot. Now, the initial reports was from around about 6:55 p.m. Pacific South. I think that's Pacific time. when a man reported seeing a V-shaped object hovering above Henderson in Nevada, he said it was about the size of a Boeing 747 and sounded like rushing wind. About 6 lights on it around the leading edge, and the lights reported travelled northwest to southwest.
See, now I could, because of what you just said there, I could see that possibly in my eyes that could be an actual, because it's got sound, that could be a military.
Now, a lot of reports did say that it was a silent craft. This thing that went overhead, right?
Yeah.
Now, I watched one eyewitness account, and it was a group of doctors. They'd all, again, doctors, you know, they'd actually been doing some sort of research, and they'd all got together on the balcony to discuss it. And whilst in discussion, one of them looked up and saw this thing, and they all seen it at the same time. They all described it as an ominous, massive, dark craft that was literally so low that if you were to kind of ask a pilot whether it was, you know, what the kind of air altitude is recommended, you know, for coming into Phoenix, then they'd say it was a certain altitude. This was way lower. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, over just above the houses, literally just above.
He claimed that it was so silent that you wouldn't know it was there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you saw it. So this rush of wind, I'm not sure. I mean,
yeah, it makes it a little different because the aspects of a lot of reports, especially the important reports, there is no sound. There is absolutely no sound at all. So if you've got something that has sound, then
maybe
class it as a UFO,
I mean, it could be the fact that, you know, maybe it was one of the smaller ships coming out of the mothership making the sound, and then, you know, that stops and it carried on gliding
it's possible
on.
Mechanical movements of something.
Because, I mean, nobody ever actually suggests in any of the reports that there was any sort of mechanical movements going on.
Well, this is
but
it,
there are reports of and other structures being kind of picked out on this sort of ominous object. But, I mean, again, there's certain reports that say it was translucent. Some say that it can't have been translucent because it blocked out stars, so it must have been a solid mass. You know, then you've got others who say it was a cigar-shaped object. Now, depending on your position geographically, you might look up and say, I can see a cigar-shaped object, but if you're seeing that same object from directly below, you could say it's a V-shaped object. Do you know what I mean? So, actually, the second report that came in was from a former police officer who claimed he was from Arizona. He claimed to have been the next person to report the sighting. After leaving his house at around 8:15, he was driving north and allegedly saw a cluster of reddish-orange lights in the sky, all sort of clustered together.
Yeah.
And a fifth travelling towards them as if they were independent of the main ship or the main set of lights. He checked that out through binoculars, and the lights basically until they disappeared over into the south horizon. So, I mean, this is like a credible encounter where a former police officer, no reason to lie, you know, has had an encounter. He's watched it as far as he could. He's witnessed these lights moving independently of each other as well as staying in formation. It's too much witness. I mean, we always say, don't we, show us the proof, right? Now, this is so much proof that it makes you think, why are we still asking the question of, is there life out there? Because it states that it's obvious to me that if this was, well, flares,
it'd be a mass hallucination.
Right? It's rather A, mass hallucination, B, alien invasion, C, government technology that they're trying to suppress, right? Or all of the above. I don't know, right? It's a bit of a kind of a strange one, isn't it? So
And the amount of people, though, it's the amount of people that say. I mean, when it's first reported, it was the National UFO Research Centre got 700 reports. How many did you say the police?
Well,
had got?
The next day, the police had around. This was the police switchboard, right?
Yeah.
They'd had around about 100 calls overnight just to state that they'd seen, panicked citizens worried that they'd seen something in the sky and they were a bit scared and didn't know what it was. They had to tell them they didn't have a clue either. Yeah, right. And it must have been very difficult for them to do. I mean, it's like this Lynn, when she first went to the authorities back in 2004, she actually called the papers up and wanted to kind of get somebody out here to take a picture or, report
get the
on
evidence
it.
And show the public.
And they turned around to her. She called back the next morning. And I think she must have been posing as, tried to, pose as somebody else, because she asked, has anybody called up reporting lights in the sky? And they got a bit snotty with her and said no. Yeah, and she knew for a fact that she had. So it was like, what,
why are you
talking
lying?
shit? Yeah, so it's when... Obviously, that they know, but they can't tell you. But the police didn't know what it was at all, right? So they've got the switchboards going mad.
This.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the incidents, it kind of does break down into a couple of incidents, doesn't it? Like in terms of mass. There was the first incident was known as the Prescott Dewey lights.
Yeah.
A television station, KSAZ, reported a video, basically showing a video which was recorded by an individual named Richard Curtis. Richard Curtis, he recorded a detailed video showing the outline of the spacecraft. That went obviously out, and people started reporting that they'd seen it as well. There were loads of people saying, I've seen a V-shaped object and lights in the sky. Many witnesses reported seeing it, and loads of people actually took the footage and tried to clean it up and do video enhancements and stuff like that as well. You can actually find those on YouTube.
It was actually interesting because actually 2 videos come out at that time. Now, first one was the original video. The second one that was filmed was actually flares. And they tried to pass it off. They actually tried to pass it off as they went out as soon as the incidents had happened, and that they'd actually gone out and fly some flares, bang, so we can turn around and say we were doing something that night, but it was the wrong times.
Yeah, but this is it, because a bit later on, obviously, the Prescott and Prescott Valley, they started reporting lights. They said that the people in the area of Prescott and Prescott Valley said that approximately 8:17, people started calling up, making reports of objects that were definitely solid, because, like I say, it blocked out much of the starry sky, were passing overhead. Is it Devon Lons was Aunt Jamie Lons was must be like, so is it Devon Lons and Aunt Jamie Lons were standing outside on the porch in Prescott Valley when they noticed a cluster of lights northwest of their position. The lights formed a triangular position pattern. It's all very familiar. Do you know what I mean? And as well, for 300 miles, how can you have flares that that go for 300 miles, that are seen for 300 miles, that travel for 300 miles? From Nevada to Tucson. It doesn't happen, right? And
how come there was 5 for the first incident and then 9 for the second incident? You couldn't.
Well, like I say, they observed it for 2 or 3 minutes with binoculars. Then it passed directly overhead. The observers were seeing bank to the right and then disappear into the night sky southwest of Prescott Valley. The altitude could not be determined. However, the object was fairly low and made no sound whatsoever.
But it did stop and hover over at certain places. And then
it did. I mean, in terms of like when it was over Phoenix, reports were that it was stationary over Phoenix for quite a while.
Good time for. surprisingly, not enough footage.
But like I say, the National UFO Reporting Centre received quite a few reports from Prescott area, saying that we observed 5 white lights or yellow white lights in a V formation moving slowly over the northwest across the skies. They turned almost due south and continued until out of sight. The point of the V was basically directing the movement of the other lights, and they were fairly tight in a V formation, while other 2 lights were on the back, basically trailing it and moving around. So they were like rather docking with it, or as if it was sort of
like defensive mode.
Yeah, defensive. That's what I thought. Like it was more of like watching the 6, if you like. So it was something that was kind of more, like a defense strategy rather than
more
anything.
of so it's more military tactic than a civilian to go over an area. Yeah, because you're looking at your sides and you're also looking at your rear as well. Where most people just carry on where they are.
Who knows? I mean, literally, they could have been surrounded by crafts. I mean, the lights being on. Does that mean that they were, do they need the lights on, or are they just trying to show that they are there? That's what it seems to me. It doesn't seem like... Yeah, that was... it seems like they can turn off the lights and still function the craft. Yeah, right? So, are they displaying these lights for our benefit? Yeah. And then, genuinely, are there other crafts surrounding it which are just, like, cloaked or, not visible to us? Because maybe if we saw more lights than we did, maybe it would have been a bit of panic stations here, guys, because we're being invaded. Do you know what I mean? But 1 or 2, we're like, ooh, what's that?
Well, it also could be several different crafts that can combine as one to make I don't know, do something, or they need to do something. Because it's not its usual MO. You know what I mean? This is another thing that's surprising about it. Usually, it's cloak and daggers. And the same, soon as you, as a majority of them, soon as you look at it and see it, somehow it knows you've seen it. Somehow, I don't know what it is, but you can, or you'd have a perfect picture by now. You know what I mean? It's a case of that. How's it know you see it?
So
it's a massive question.
Yeah, well, this is it. A few of the eyewitnesses had said that, it did feel like they were being watched. If you like, that there was something intelligent,
like one big eye
behind it, like Saruman, the big Saruman eye on the fucking spaceship, going, "Yes, I'm watching you." Well, the first sightings in Phoenix now. Prescott Valley, it's about 65 miles away, so 100 kilometres away from Phoenix.
About 2-hour drive.
It's a distance, right. When the lights appeared in Phoenix, 5 separate lights appeared in an arc shape. They were spotted by a couple of people. They started getting reports in. Tim Lay and his wife Bobby and their son Hal and grandson Damien all saw the lights. They first saw the lights when it arrived, when it were above Prescott Valley. But obviously, when it moved off towards Phoenix, into the centre, it was they were getting mass calls in then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there was actually an incident at the actual airport called Luke Air Force Base.
Yeah, that's right.
That they nearly hit a Cessna airplane at the time, and there was 2 light aircrafts flying around at that time. And actually, do you want to tell everyone who one of them was?
Oh, who?
Kurt Russell.
Was it Kurt Russell?
Yeah, Kurt Russell
was it? Kurt Russell was a pilot, wasn't he?
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
he went on the One show in Britain, and it was the first.
It was funny that actually, because I'm not sure if they kind of prearranged that. Right. Because they were talking about a story. Now they were talking about the Phoenix Lights. I think it must have been one of the previous anniversaries.
I think it was an anniversary. Yeah.
Now Kurt Russell happened to be on the One show. I did see it. Yeah, and he was saying. I was flying a plane. I was flying a plane that day Like I saw it whilst flying.
Records,
and
I was asked about
legitimately, Kurt Russell was flying that night, and he saw one of these. He saw this UFO, and to this day, I mean, if you can find the interview on YouTube, watch it because this is Kurt Russell, man. He's telling you firsthand. I saw this. I was a pilot flying a plane. I saw the UFOs. I saw the lights. Never told anyone before.
No.
But yeah,
and
that's
everyone
true
was
story.
looking for the secondary pilot because the first one was the one who reported the near air crash. So then when the others got contacted and was basically, do you know what, can you see anything, blah, blah, this, that and the other. So when the airport contacted Luke Air Force Base, they sent up 3 jets, 3 F-15s. So the 3 F-15s went in to have a look. The UFO followed one of the jets and then ended up turning around and going off.
Right, so there was some sort of interaction. So there you go then. So, you know, there's evidence to suggest it's definitely not flares. Because if they've had to send up F-16s or F-15s or whatever they've sent up, why? You had helicopters, police helicopters up, right? Mm-hmm. Media helicopters up. You had F-15s, right? Government aircraft, right? All trying to identify this thing, right? Yeah. Why would you do that? Why would the government send? Why would the military send in planes if they know that it's a warthog that's doing flare maneuvers? It wouldn't. Yeah,
exactly. Well, you'd keep them on the ground.
Obviously, there's been at this point. It's arrived in Phoenix. There's been so many. Witnesses so
over
far.
10,000 witnesses up to then.
Yeah, well, 10% of Arizonans, people from Arizona had seen this. So during the Phoenix event, numerous still photographs, videos were made showing a series of lights appearing in regular intervals and remaining illuminated for several moments and then going out. These images are all over the internet. You can definitely find them. They've been documentaries on all types of channels, like the Discovery Channel, the History Channel. There's a brilliant documentary on the Phoenix Lights website, which I definitely recommend checking out, which is all eyewitness accounts, right? So, you know, it's all the people who saw it firsthand back in 2000,
Police,
is it 1997?
Military, like politicians, you've got so many different people who come forward as well.
The most frequent scene sequence shows an arc of lights that appear at once and then going out one by one. Yeah, you've seen that, haven't you? Where it's like sort of like an arc rather than a V, and it's almost like that's it. Do you know, if they had a bit of a speaker on, they'd probably get away with that. But, you know, they say it was so large in terms of, like, football pitches, and they'll say, like, I mean, reports went in to say that it was as long as or large as a mile or 1.6 kilometers in diameter, hovering over the city of Phoenix. Other small sequences reported to be taken over half an hour period, showing different numbers of lights in V formations, arrowheads, and then thousands of witnesses throughout Arizona reported silent, mile-wide V bomber-shaped and boomerang-shaped crafts.
Totally.
And varying numbers and huge orbs. So, you know, I mean, this is the thing. It's like as soon as, like, people started seeing this, it was like reports coming in from everywhere. It was like even but I think people were like, nah, the aliens are... It's like a scene out of Independence Day.
Well, funny enough, Independence Day just coming out as well.
Was it? Do you think it could have just been like a big publicity stunt?
No, to be honest, no, because I don't know.
Well, you want to take credit for that, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I'd like to.
I'd say, it was all for Independence Day. Go and watch the movie, guys. You thought that was amazing. You go and see this film. It's got Will Smith in it.
Yeah, he did. Well,
well, there was a significant number of eyewitnesses, all of them reporting that there was a craft overhead.
But not caught on radar.
Very low. Yeah, but this is the thing, because going back to...
but not radar.
Going back to that first encounter in 2004. I mean, no, sorry, Was it 2004? When did this happen? 1994. Yeah, right. So yeah, going back to that encounter back in 1994, Lynn said she seen this, and she called up the airport, who said they didn't get anything on radar. Yeah. Which was quite weird. Yeah. Oh no, so they said they got stuff on radar. Yeah. And they found more stuff than she'd seen. Yeah. So they said that she's seen only 2 incidents where the radar had picked up 6. Right. Yeah. So why could nobody pick up anything on radar this time round when there's more and more people are seeing it and it's definitely there? Yeah.
Well, it's to me it reminds me of you trying to sneak into somewhere and sneak back out, but the sneakiness just is like, because of this. You don't see it on radar, but you see it by visual, by your own sight. There's like loads of people seeing it, but they're only seeing dark shape or seeing through the ship. They can't actually see individual, like panels or anything like that. The lights are not normal lights. They're not like a spotlight or anything like that. It's like the light was in it but shined down differently.
Yeah, there was a lot of people saying that this light was so like different. It was kind of like contained. It wasn't like it was when you see normal twinkling of street lights and city lights and stuff like that, they have kind of a bit of a glare to them. Yeah. Right. The reports that kind of I see, and they were saying that these were more not lights that came from Earth. They didn't seem earthly. It was something otherworldly. Even all these UFO experts have kind of analysed all this stuff and the images that have come out. They've used kind of software to determine whether they're legitimate and try and enhance them to get a better look or whatever. It's mad to think that with all this witnessing and all these people seeing the same thing, that we didn't get some better. Even though so many images were taken. Now, an independent video laboratory, I think they're called Cognitech, did some bits and pieces trying to work out, the video that was submitted, to the KSAZ TV claims. They enhanced it, but similarly, tests basically showed that the lights were in front of the mountain range and they were legit. Do you know what I mean? It was like you couldn't really determine anything other than that. They did loads of image overlay stuff, and they couldn't. They basically said that the images were all the images they checked were genuine. Real. They were all taken out of lights in the sky. So
they had time for another thing was of them stopping in certain areas. That's kind of like, if you were going to float across, you're not going to stop. Why are you stopping? There has to be a reason why the so-called craft had stopped in certain locations. Which I'd like to know where roughly whereabouts them locations were, and if there'd be anything significant about them little areas.
Well, I think obviously Nevada is synonymous with UFO encounters, and in terms
Fire in the
of
Sky was done there.
Well, yeah, and the Roswell incident, plus many more. I mean, there's a lot of kind of areas around that area of America, especially, that's kind of like desert land, or it's got a bit of. But then again, these are all places that have got really clear night skies. There's not as much ambient light in some places than main cities. So people who were living outside, outskirts of, Nevada, Phoenix, Tucson, these places, will obviously, but it's going to be pitch black for them. So when they do see these lights in the sky, it's very obvious to them. Do you know what I mean? After have you got any more to add to the main incident? Because we'll move into the theories, and then I've got a bit of another after the incident.
I've got, basically, after the incident, March 6, 1997, the city councilwoman had asked the city manager in their chambers, is there going to be an investigation? She didn't get an answer, and from there on, she was basically the door had been shut in her face by her and her
So they
colleagues.
didn't want to talk about it, did they?
Yeah,
really.
They really didn't want to talk about it. So then, June 18th, 1997, US Today were the ones that broke the story for around the world. So, and that was like 2 months afterwards, after the actual incident. It had taken that long.
It's crazy, isn't it, that many people kind of witnessed it? I mean, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, when you hear this
50,
story, I mean, it kind of makes you feel like that scene in Independence Day when everyone's on the rooftops and everyone's like, beam me up, take me to your leader, and just trying to make contact with it. I mean, shooting the guns off it into the. I think there's probably a lot of that. Yeah, people fucking like. I sure knows aliens who's boss. I shoved my gun up it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
people will.
I think there was probably a lot of that, but the fact is, there was so many reports that it makes me think UFOs, they're real, man. It's like, if you can't get that from that, then I think it's the most documented invasion, if you like.
It could be, for all we know, it could be a small, like, little task party dropping down for something.
Yeah, maybe. They were like, they were here on a diplomatic thing. They didn't know they were, the cloaking button was off. I don't know.
Well, it's true.
Slightly. Go on.
I was just going to say, like, the governor come out afterwards.
I saw, with, go on.
Where he dressed one of his colleagues up and said he walked out and
said he'd made contact.
Here he is, we've caught him, and then this guy comes out in an alien like mask and all that, and then eventually like takes his
I suppose he had a sense of humour about it, because I mean, I was watching a load of if you look on YouTube, you'll find the actual newscasts from those days, so like on the 13th of March, the 14th of March, and then onwards. But they're really interesting because it's like, what are these things? It's from their perspective as it happens. So, it's
true. But even he come out 10 years later and said actually he'd witnessed it. So he was taking the pee out of himself as well as out of all the other people. And the people around there was not happy when he did it. Must admit, he really wasn't happy.
Why? What was this?
The governor, when he turned round and brought this alien out and went,
but you've got to have a bit of a poke of fun at it. And at the end of the day, it's like, if something was to happen like that in Manchester, then they'd be like exactly the same, man. But there'd be people on the streets there selling I saw an alien man T-shirts and stuff. Do you know? Well, so I don't blame him for kind of like having a bit of a laugh with the media about it. But
the people have been asking the office.
We want answers. We want answers, and then he comes out with taking the piss.
And they weren't getting answers. And the governor, when he come back out 10 years later and said, "Actually, yes, I did see the craft come over me," he actually said they asked him the question, "Did you actually put an inquiry and have a look? Did your team have a look?" And he said, "Yeah, we did." But we were just blanked all the way, so he got nothing. He got basically, you deal with that situation. Nothing's happened there, and so
even the governor got got
sidelined.
And no information. There you go. Then you see, it's like even
you don't want the people to know, do they?
It's the top in it. It's only if you're at the top you get to know all this information.
At the top,
Well, obviously the Phoenix Lights have been one of the most widely disputed sort of UFO encounters. One report came in
disputed by the government.
In terms of like, I suppose if you see it to believe it, don't you? And I think there's a lot of people in Arizona who were adamant that what they saw was what they saw. So I mean, after the incident, once it had all calmed down, a report came in from a young man in the Kingsman area who stopped his car at a payphone to report an incident. The young man basically said he was en route to Los Angeles when he had to call in a report of seeing a large and bizarre cluster of stars moving slowly off into the north sky.
See, I've got a truck driver who was a witness who was driving near the airbase.
I'm not surprised you've got a truck driver, Taylor.
I know. I got a load of things. Don't know what's in the back though. UFO.
It's probably a load of concrete looking like painted up to look like copper.
Oh, you know my business so well.
Go on.
So this driver Billy, he was driving past the actual airbase at the time, and he had expressly said that he'd seen 2 UFOs hovering over the airbase. There was 2 F-16s sent off to chase these craft off.
Wow, this lorry driver's in the know, innit?
Oh, yeah.
How did he know there was F-16s sent out? He was like, I got on my CB, and he was like, right, breaker, this is Derek, I'm on the big rig. And he's like, yeah, what's up, Derek? It was like, we've got a UFO here. And it was like, right, we'll just send out a couple of F-15s, don't you worry about it, Derek. Over.
Yeah,
is that what happened?
Yeah. Well, he must be. He must know what the crafts look like. Don't forget what you were saying. Like the skies are mostly clear around there, so you could see.
No, I guarantee he saw it. So what he's saying, he saw the planes coming out afterwards, like
basically
coming out to follow. Yeah,
to find out. But one went off and one stayed and hovered, stayed there. Yet another witness that come through the day afterwards. An unknown Air Forceman on the March the 14th had come back and said he was there when they made the call from the airport that there was nearly a crash, and he specified that he was one of the people who, when the pilots got back, he had helped the pilots out.
Right, okay.
And he'd said the pilot was shivering. He was scared to death, and the pilot had said he'd never seen anything like it. He doesn't know what the hell was going on, and he was glad to be back on the ground.
Bloody
and
hell.
From there on as well, the base got locked down. And funny enough, the call happened at 8:32, which was nearer the first time that the first incident had happened, where the police officer had called.
So theories then, yeah.
Theories.
The main theories do seem to be flares, right? Which I don't buy in the slightest. You can't get flares that travel 300 miles and do sharp banks to the right and then fly off into the sunset. It just doesn't work, yeah, right?
Well,
So, as a theory, it's done hold up, right?
Definitely doesn't hold up, because 3 years after it, they had a test. They were testing it. Even the people around the area were involved, some of them, on seeing if they could make the same patterns again and see. And they couldn't do it. 3 years of trying and they could not do it. Seriously,
it was like those arrow-headed, like, you know, like I say, some people were saying it looked like a set square in terms of how straight that edge was. You know, the lights was an arrow pointing in a V shape, There's no way that this could have been a formation that they could maintain for all that distance, Now, reports were coming in saying that it was the lights were going out and coming back on, and, you know, so over that space of time, they've gone on and off a couple of times, right? They've illuminated and de-illuminated themselves countless times, right? So what flares do that?
None
now, generally,
I know exist.
A lot of planes, in fact, all planes, all helicopters, all aircraft have warning lights and blinking sort of tail lights or some. These didn't have this.
Some kind of indication.
Some sort of indication where the wing tips are or anything. Some sort of hazard lighting. right? These didn't have anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So breaking aviation law.
So exactly, right?
Military.
So if it was a military operation or a military craft, then straight away it's not adhering to current aviation laws and rules, yeah, and regulations, yeah. So I can't see the military putting out a plane like that, yeah, or even testing a plane like that, yeah. That's basic shit that that any engineer, worth the salt would factor into the design, yeah.
That's why you got the Salt Lakes and or Denta. They've got the Area 51, Groom Lake, bloody hell. You've got enough room there to set like probably 15 of these fuckers.
But that's what I mean. It's like, but again, I mean, we talked about these massive ships being hidden on Earth, or are they actually here already? You know, I don't know. Were they just visiting? Were they here and just kind of having a fly around, keeping the engine ticking over? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? I think personally, there's more to say that it was something otherworldly than something we'd produced on Earth.
Well, it's happened time and time again. This is the thing, because it happened 7 years earlier in Belgium, which thousands of people had seen, and actually it's the 1990 best picture we've ever taken of a triangle ship. So you had an incident now, and plus you've got stuff like Alexander the Great. He's referenced that shields would go across the land.
Right, okay.
Like massive shields. And there's a few stories around history about stuff like that over, like soldiers and and that. So
I do believe that this isn't something new, but I mean, again, it's like... does it answer the question? Well. Does it? I mean, like I say, in this particular case, it's happened more than once. I think. Yeah. Will we ever get the answers? Will it get revealed? Who knows? But I mean, it's something that I enjoy talking about. So who cares, man? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I just really, it shows actually how the media and how the government and how a lot of people took it when it first happened, and it was like, well, it wasn't being put worldwide. The governor decides to take the piss, even though he's seen it. The military is saying
it's not anything to do with us, but then say
throw
it's
flares up. Yeah, and they're saying that there was nothing there at the time, and you've got like 50,000 people estimated seeing this. And that's no short amount of people. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Well, if you saw it, if you saw it as it happened, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to fucking send us my language, send us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. We again, we'll just love to hear your opinions, your encounter specifically, and well, like I say, it didn't happen very long ago, so I'm sure there'll be people out there who do remember it vividly if it was as kind of epic as I imagine it to be.
I remember it at the time. I proper remember it because I was proper into my research at that time, and it was like, right, oh, this is amazing.
That's when we called him Spooky Mulder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, well, Foxy. Foxy. Moving on. Foxy. Well, we've got we've got the news coming up, but first of all, we've got our featured podcast for the week, which is Geek Exploration, the podcast. Each week, join Ben and John, who pick from the Geek Exploration geeksosphere, as they put it, for a deep dive into what makes it so great. So I assume that they look into geek culture and stuff like that and then analyse it to shit. We've got a promo. Check it out.
Welcome to Geek Exploration, the podcast. I'm John Williams.
And I'm Ben Robinson. Do you like time travel?
Movies.
Video games?
Comics?
Sci-fi?
Cartoons?
Or how about action figures?
Well, so do we. Every episode, we pick a topic from the geekosphere and have a little chat about it.
So if you've been waiting for a groundbreaking podcast that does all of this and more, you might have what it takes to be a Geek Explorer.
Come join us every other Tuesday for a fresh installment of Geek Exploration, the podcast.
You can find us at geeksplorationpodcast.com or any reputable podcatcher, likely a few unreputable ones.
So yeah, you can check out Ben and John weekly. On Tuesdays, they put out their episodes. So, and they're available wherever you get your podcasts from. So, moving on, we've checked out the, the old headlines and stuff like that, haven't we? As usual.
We have indeed.
To bring you guys this week's news. And here we go. It's the news! Well, as usual, we've scoured the internet for a good old 20 minutes to find the craziest and bizarrest news from Earth and beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Anything this week caught your eye, Mr. Taylor?
Caught my eye.
I've seen some cracking headlines this week.
Go for it.
Well, firstly, right, Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's a great guy, and he's a super chap.
Yeah.
And it just makes me laugh every time I see an article about Elon Musk in the news. This time, he's gone and changed his job title.
All right. What's that say?
Well, not just him. I think it's his chief financial officer as well, Zach Kirkhorn. They've both decided to change their job titles. Elon will go. So a statement that came out, and actually the paperwork from Tesla. So his job won't change, but his job title will. So from the 15th of March, that's today, Elon Musk will therefore be known as the Techno King of Tesla.
Techno King.
The Techno King of Tesla. And Zach Kirkhorn, his chief financial officer, will be forever known as the Master of Coin.
I like it.
It does sound like Elon's trying to get... He sounds like he works on the waltzers. And he's like, yeah, man, come and get on the electric waltzers.
Spin around.
The louder you scream, the faster you ride. I'm the king of techno. Techno, Tesla. Do you know what I mean? He's man. I can't believe it. It's like, I think he's brilliant, but, so the techno king of you know what his next car's going to be called?
Go on.
The Boogaloo.
The electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a good move for him in terms of Tesla automobiles. If you call Tesla... I'll let you call your car the Boogaloo, right? If I can if I have a free electric Boogaloo, how about that? Yeah,
make it two.
The electric Boogaloo from Tesla.
You always like a spare, don't you?
What?
Always like a spare.
Comes with free disco CD.
And you can go and collect it in space.
Only available in space.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Right,
what do you think of the name change? Yeah, do you think I should do that? What should I be?
What would you put yourself
as?
The
podcast king.
The podcast king.
The podcast. I don't know.
It needs to be a bit more like
a bit more flamboyant.
Yeah.
I think the techno king of Tesla is pretty appropriate for Elon. I wonder how high he was when he came up with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, TKT as well.
TKT.
Yeah,
you're right,
TK.
I just wanted to be called. I've always wanted to be called TK. I asked kids in the playground, it's never stuck. But now I'm rich, so
I can change my name to what I want.
Anything else? Moving on. I just thought that was quite funny. Why would you do it?
I got a funny
one. The King of Coin or the Master of Coin, or it's quite appropriate as financial advisor. Go on, what are you talking about?
Well, some lady, she needed a photo taken in California.
Right. Why did she need a photo taken? What for?
She needed it for a driving license.
I was going to say headshot. Go on. For a driving license photo,
So you need a headshot, So she's had the first photo taken, and she's done it with a mask because she's trying to be safe. You know what I mean? So they've contacted her and said, can you give us another one without the face mask? So it's like,
I can't believe she put a face mask on.
Well, in this day and age, I don't know.
It's just second nature now, isn't it? You don't even notice. It's like, oh, shit, I totally forgot I was wearing it.
Yeah. So she went, okay then. So she did one without out it. Then she gets her photo ID back from Orange County. And it turns out it's the first photo. So she has
she's now got
an authorised
driving
ID.
license.
driving license with a face mask on.
Seriously, she can't get away with that. As soon as some copper pulls her up, they're going to tell her to go and change it.
Yeah, she's probably going to have to go back and successfully change it again. But
for the moment, I just keep it. Can I keep it, though? I'd say, can I keep it?
I'd definitely keep it and use it for the copper first. And then it's like,
there's a real one.
But nothing's different apart from it. You just want to see my face? Okay, there
It's funny, though, because at the moment, if she did get pulled over, that's what she'd look like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he'd probably look at the photo and go, yeah, that's you.
Yeah, but
I can tell by the sparkle in your eyes.
Then she's got a counterfeit ID, so she could probably be sent to jail anyway.
Oh, she needs to give it up then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get yourself in trouble, love.
No.
I found this story. Do you know, you're into all this, like, you know, trading, commodities, doing the old trade 1-2-1-2 and all that stuff, right? Well, this commodity trader, right?
Yeah.
He struck a deal last summer to buy $36 million worth of copper from a Turkish supplier. Right.
Nice.
But when the cargo crates arrived in China, they found to contain painted rocks.
So they were even
no, they weren't copper. It was just
rock.
like concrete slabs that had been painted to look like copper. Yeah, right. So, they've obviously complained about it, and then they're trying to say that what they sent was copper, and it must have been swapped on transit, right? So it's turned into a whole big thing, like a big mystery of where this copper's gone. Was it shipped like that? Wasn't it? You know what I mean? 36 million's a lot of money to invest and to lose. So, I think an investigation is going ahead, but
that's some piracy now.
Copper, it was basically 300 containers were switched.
300 containers? That's a UFO, that.
Yeah, and it was switched with paving stones spray painted to resemble a similar refined metal.
How the hell can this? There's something bloody dodgy there. How can they switch? And plus, if the cargo's obviously they've got a shipping cargo.
No, this is the problem, isn't it? Because it does highlight commodity traders' vulnerabilities. Because obviously, if it's all great doing this kind of wheeling dealing, but if it gets kind of sniped in transit.
That's true. That's true. And if they were, what? It was going to Hong Kong? Did you say?
What? It was going to. It basically going from Turkey, and it arrived in China and checked, and that's when they made the discovery. I'm not sure if that was the original, the intended destination. Basically, the Turkish police have took 13 people into custody, related to the copper scheme.
Theft.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they're guilty but they're maintaining that it was copper that they sent and it was nothing to do with them. They're legit. Yeah. But we'll have to see how it unfolds.
It don't sound right, does it?
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. What do you reckon?
Yeah, someone switched it in between, unless it was them at the beginning.
They're looking into it, whether it's some sort of fraud or whether it was done at the cargo stage, or if they need to determine. They need to determine who's responsible. Yeah, they're numbered, but if somebody's broke in whilst, Yeah,
but you're not going to do it individual ones. Take individual ones, empty it, and put some.
Oh, it's a lot of work,
instead.
that, isn't it?
So it'll have to be the whole container. That's
what I think. It was probably from the source, and they've probably thought we'll try and because we can say that it was happened in transit. It's nothing to do with us. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a get out, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
I think they've arrested they've definitely arrested the right people, in my opinion. Sort of thing. So we'll see.
Might have been an insurance job,
maybe. But anything else you found?
That a UFO over New Jersey Sunday morning.
I read about this.
Turned out to be.
What was it?
It turned out to be SpaceX's Falcon 9. Right. At 6 a.m. in the morning.
What was it? So was it like the tail end of it or something?
Yeah, it was basically the back end of it. There's videos out there from News 12.
Talking about that side, I think, actually. Did you see the video of the meteorite that went over the UK last week?
Yeah, there was a couple of them, big. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me, not as bad as the one that in Russia where it lights up the whole area, but there was a lot of video from different, like I say, from like the Phoenix Lights. There was a lot of people who got video of it from different angles and directions, so it's really cool. But that New Jersey one, it wasn't a UFO. It was it was the Techno King.
Falcon 9 taking off.
It was the Techno King's work. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Tesla. Tesla. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Headbanging.
Right. So again, shame it wasn't aliens after all.
Yeah, well, they thought it could have been a meteorite or
yeah,
a UFO.
Well, I actually thought it might have been a meteorite, but now you've said that, that makes sense.
I've got to admit, when I first seen the pictures, I thought it was Falcon 9, I'll be honest. I thought it looks more like a craft than it does like a meteorite.
I've got a bit more news on Elon in a bit with SpaceX and Starlink and stuff like that, but we'll save that till NASA news. I found this story that you might find interesting. It's a bit Skynet.
Okay.
It's a bit Skynet, bit robotic, rise of the machines, and it's got a 5G twist.
Oh, definitely give it me.
Right, okay. So this is 5G powered robots. Right. There's more to it, right? 5G powered this is a 5G robotic arm, that is just given the world's first remote tattoo in real time, So
what?
Yeah, seriously. So this is this is a really kind of groundbreaking thing, right? Because imagine you've got a surgeon who's
would you want a surgeon?
It depends if the technology's getting that good.
Doing your eye where you are now, and he's in Bangladesh, and he goes, "Hold on a minute, what if your connection breaks down?"
Well, it's 5G, so you should hope that it's going to be.
You should hope, you had 4
crazy
3G,
good,
and you should hope you didn't break.
Well,
down
if your internet goes down, you're pretty much fucked, aren't you?
What
but at the end of the day, right? No, I do agree with that. Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah, but this new tattoo, this system has been able to remotely deliver a tattoo in real time, where the artist's on one side of the world, the person receiving it's on the other, right?
It's technical.
Now, like you were saying earlier about kind of like if you've surgeons in Bangladesh, now they could be the only surgeon who could help you, but like that treatment is going to be impossible because you can't get to that country, or it's going to cost you a fortune. And you see it all the time, don't you? Raising money so they can take fucking the patient to another country to have life-saving surgery. Now,
in one way,
do you not think this is groundbreaking in the sense that it opens that up?
Well, I hope. In one way, I'm looking at it in a positive light of like you don't have to travel, so that means you don't have to use fuel, you don't have to fly, you don't have to do as lot more. You can do it from your home. But in another way, it's. Do you trust the technology that much?
Yeah,
that you put your life in its hands, even though we are doing that today?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not really in the hand. I mean, it's a human with technology in their hands delivering.
What if someone hasn't been cleaning it on the other side, or someone
listen, right? Okay, so what would you consider a scalpel to be? In my opinion, that's a surgeon's tool, right? Yeah. It's the surgeon using the tool that delivers the performance and the steady hand and the eye coordination and the years of schooling to be able to perform that operation, right?
Yeah.
Now, replace the scalpel with this 5G device that is able to make me, a surgeon, perform this task remotely. Isn't that exactly the same thing? You're putting the same skilled surgeon, just giving him a new apparatus to use.
No, because there's a lot of room for technical error.
I do believe that, but I mean, it's the start of things, I do think. And,
don't get me wrong.
And I think it is a very big leap. And in terms of the implications to, medicine
massive
and stuff, it's
people.
definitely massive. So, tattoos is one thing.
Yeah, tattoos, I suppose, not too bad. But then again, like I said, is it on its technical form now, or are we waiting like 10 years for it to be on it can do technical drawings? Because they only do lines now or something?
No, full tattoos. Yeah, you can do full... an artist sits there on one side and what he draws is translated over the internet. The project was pretty impressive on various technical points. T-Mobile in the Netherlands were looking into, looking at it to promote their 5G network speed, reliability, and low latency. So, with robotic fans, it's pretty cool because obviously robotics engineers can work remotely as well. So it's quite it opens the doors in a lot of different areas, I think.
Yeah, and I suppose it could be used for a lot of other stuff instead of just surgery. You could do possibly a lot of other kind of work with it, like let's say drilling.
Yeah, so
get the machine in there.
The tattoo
to drill with behind it.
Was needled into the skin by a robotic arm being controlled by a tattoo artist, Wes Thomas, in a totally different location. The woman who got the tattoo obviously took a lot of guts, to sit there and receive that one-off kind of tattoo. So good on her.
And that's another thing: the senses within your fingers, the touch, the way that
of course it's the pressure, all the. Yeah. Now I think what it is because the tattoo artist, he's kind of using a pen sort of, so it takes all of his pressures and everything like that into account, and then it digitizes that information and relays it on the other side.
I think a little bit more work on it, I'd accept it, but as it stands,
I'll accept it. At the moment, I wouldn't get one of them tattoos.
No, it's still like the first 3D printer. All
right then. Well, you'll love this story then, right? Yeah. All right, you'll love this story, right? So as soon as I saw this story, I thought this is a Taylor story. This. So Russian lawmakers,
me well,
have approved a new bill, allowing accidental corruption. Accidental corruption. It's legit now. You can corrupt if it's accidental. If you do it by accident,
that's like a guy turning around to his wife and go, "Whoops! I accidentally slipped and fell inside.
I fell on a woman today, love.
What can I say?
Sorry, it was an accident. Russian Parliament have basically approved the first reading of a bill allowing accidental corruption. According to the bill, officers, judges, military personnel and other individuals cannot be held responsible for corrupt actions when they're caused.
That is so corrupt.
So when they're not in control of the circumstances in which such actions took place, right? So
you mean their job?
Well, so basically, they're saying in any time there's a massive sort of like incident, so like an earthquake, a flood, a hurricane, fires, pandemics, strikes, military conflicts or terrorist acts, they're allowed to do corrupt stuff, and say, it wasn't my fault, there was a pandemic going on, right?
That's bullshit.
It does seem a bit fucking bit of a strange one, doesn't it? Well, under this bill, every corrupt case would be investigated by a special commission to decide if a corrupt act was accidental or uncontrolled. You mean the
corrupt they're going to say, all right.
Basically.
Go
so
on,
they
mate,
get so they'll send it to a special committee of corrupt bastards who will then decide whether it was actually accidental corruptness or uncontrollable circumstances.
Well, I hope that people are hearing this, because if it's the first paper, it's gone through the first part.
They've already passed the first bit. Yeah, they've passed. It's past the reading.
Yeah. So, I actually want to see.
I wonder who they're going to appoint as the corrupt councillors.
Putin's up for retirement soon, I suppose.
Head of the job. Yeah, I will be your corrupt man. Don't you worry.
I'll be your corrupt council. Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, well,
talking of corrupt. Well, we've got today in Parliament. Boris has gone in to ask for another 6 months up until September to have a lockdown.
Oh, more lockdown. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll probably get that news tomorrow, won't we?
Case. Yeah, that'd be just in case, you know what I mean? But I think it's gone through.
Honestly, I'd rather them do it. I know it's...
Just in case, yeah.
I think everyone's settled in a bit now. But, I mean, it's still shit. And I'd rather be doing real life stuff. But, like, it's to the point now where... Afterwards. If it means that we don't have to do it again and everything's cool by Christmas, I'm an happy camper. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people would be. I think the rate of people getting their vaccines is going really quite steadily. I mean,
apart from
I wasn't expecting that I would be anywhere on that list. Yeah, right. In terms of like my age group or anything like that. But lo and behold, what do I get the other morning? A text message saying that to make my appointment for my vaccine. So they reckon it means that says to me that they're getting through it. Do you know? So
well,
fingers crossed.
Now.
Yeah, well, I read this because it was something to do with blood clots.
Yeah, because they're scared. I think France has stopped it as well.
Now, again, in the American news, they're saying that those blood clots aren't related.
Yeah, so we're saying the same thing.
Right, so it could just be like individuals with medical conditions that.
Yeah, this is possibly what's
unfortunately,
been going on,
it's kind of highlighted it when they've. I don't know if they've kind of caught something or that little bit.
It all comes down to the 33 people who had their problems, but then 2 had died. But it's still like it's. I think they stopped it to check it out beforehand, which is fair enough. And then other countries have like kind of followed it because they don't want to be the country that turns around and goes, have the vaccine, and then all of a sudden there's something wrong with the vaccine. You know what I mean? Because don't forget, we're all still in this trial period of what's going to happen. Is it going to work? Will we have to have another dose? Is the first dose the best dose? You know what I mean? We've still got.
Well, yeah, because I was reading that they were saying like even though you get the first 2 doses and you're technically vaccinated, that you might it might be like the flu where you have to go every year and get a vaccination like a flu jab. Well, do you know what I mean? Everyone has to. They put adverts on seasonally for flu jabs. So why would you not think that they do the same for COVID?
I should imagine, but do you know
it's
this
winter,
year,
guys.
there
Go and
hasn't
get
been
your
a
vaccine.
Single flu case. A single.
I'm
flu
pretty
case.
sure there probably has been.
Apparently
a single
from the
one.
Statistic, no single case of normal flu has been reported.
Well, it's because everyone's fucking, as soon as they get
COVID,
any symptoms, it's COVID, innit? It's like, you can't, it's got the flu.
And they're probably treated the same because...
because it's a respiratory condition.
The COVID's in a normal flu anyway, so...
Well, there you go. So, anything else you've got to speak about this week? Anything touched you in a way that you needed to just get it out?
To be honest, no, not really.
I did see one. I thought this was really interesting, and it's right up my street, this, because I love a bit of kind of excavation and hidden treasures. I love that. Do you know what? Yeah. It was actually pretty funny. Do you know, One Division's been talking about, doing the sitcom things. He's brought up Malcolm in the Middle quite a lot. Everyone's talking Malcolm in the Middle at the moment. Yeah. And it's funny actually because I was watching it a couple of months back, weren't I, before One Division even came out.
That is
and
true.
I said to you, I'm just smashing Malcolm in the Middle.
Smashing it. Oh.
So good, yeah. But one of my favourite episodes is the episode where they find a bunker in the back garden and they lock Hal in. Yeah,
all right,
and they find a nuclear bomb shelter, right? And it's set up for the 60s. It's got a picture of JFK on the wall and all the rest of it, from
right.
And it always I love that sort of stuff. People moving into properties and they find a hidden room or a hidden pathway or a hidden something. Yeah. Now this story made me think, it's great this because. This is somebody who's found basically a mystery secret tunnel unused for absolute centuries, and it's been discovered in someone's back garden. Yeah.
Oh shit! Nice.
So it started as a mission to remove some wooden pole and lay some cable in, and ended up revealing a centuries-old mystery, a secret tunnel that dates back at least to the 12th century and has never been marked on any map, at least as up to the 1700s, when obviously the people started doing ordnance surveys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's on none of them. They've had to call in the historical society to check it all out. Yeah, and it's basically just really kind of cool stone tunnel. Yeah,
that's meant to
finding it in your garden though, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, like it's got
find any treasure with it.
It's about 4 foot high.
Yeah,
about a passageway. But this is why I want to know what was at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's a passageway, but where's the passageway going? Do you know what I mean? So it was like, before the work began, they basically did all the usual checks and shown up nothing. They checked the records, obviously, for ordnance surveys to make sure that they weren't doing anything in anywhere that they shouldn't. Yeah. Nothing was there. Do you know what I mean? So they start to excavate, and then the dig team excavated something that they thought was a bit strange. So they checked into it and thought it might have actually been a cave system.
Okay.
So after a bit of digging, they had to stop because they thought they were going to disturb something here, and they decided to call in, like say, the Historical Society, from the Historical Culture and Heritage Service, and they've started doing excavations. Apparently, archaeologists have been in, and they want to do in-depth examinations of the area.
Yeah.
But looking at it, apparently these like the area. Like I say, it's never appeared on ordnance survey maps, and it could date prior to 1700s, but no one in the area living there or any of the local authorities have ever known about it. So who knows? Apparently there's links to kind of ruins in the area, and even like an old like ironworks and forge there. So they don't know if it's connected to that, but it's interesting to... I want to know the history of this now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and why it was used, why it was covered up, what was it for? You know.
Yeah.
No one puts work in like that for no reason. This is what I always say about Oak Island, which is really fascinating. And he's coming to the end of the season soon, so I will be writing probably a blog about that at some point.
Yes.
But yeah,
I haven't seen any more of it.
Wouldn't you just love to find something like that in your back garden?
Yeah. Oh yeah, mint. I wouldn't be stopping there. I'd be going to the other end and finding out what's at the other end. I'm not telling anyone.
It's the thing, isn't it? This is the thing, because it's like if you stop, then I mean, obviously you don't want it to collapse on you, but you obviously don't want it to be destroyed, or be put into a category where you're not allowed to disturb it, because X, Y, Z. So it's like
might not even be able to sell the house again.
Say if you were to discover it, would you just dig it out as best you could to try and understand what it was before you called the authorities?
Yeah. If I could get in there, I'd have a little nosy, see how far I could go, and as far as I can go, and then maybe have a little dig around it to see if there's any other like little clues.
Or get a metal detector out on it. Definitely, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Really. But
I definitely want to see what was at the end, unless it was collapsed, which I'm thinking.
Well, hopefully
possibly.
They'll be getting the an archaeological team in to investigate it further, and hopefully we'll have a bit more input into this in coming episodes. As soon as I find out more, I shall let you know.
Yes.
Well.
Well,
bless my soul. Have you got any more news?
Only NASA.
That just scared me, because where I've got your video feed coming in, it was over. I opened a page and there was a video behind it, and this head just appeared at the side of your head, and I was like, "Where the hell? Whoa. Who's in that room with you there?" I thought some guy went in to give you a kiss.
Have I got a ghost?
You got a ghost? Sorry about that, people at home. What do you guys reckon as well? What do you reckon's at the end of the tunnel? Give us your answers. Let us know what you think
feedback
at the end of that tunnel. And if you found a tunnel in your back garden, what would you do?
The Holy Grail.
Oh, of course.
Holy Grail at the end of
Found
it.
the Ark of the Covenant in my back garden whilst digging digging fucking potatoes.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's it. Yeah, imagine if you did do that. If you not the Holy Grail, of course.
But imagine the Holy Grail was found. It'd probably be in such a manner that it'd be like the most boring circumstances
up your
going.
Onions or your potatoes, and then all of a sudden,
this is Colin.
This?
Colin is a gardener from Cumbria.
Yeah.
Whilst digging
and now
potatoes,
he's the king of the world.
He happened to discover the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail. It would be like.
Yeah. Close your eyes, boys and girls.
And then they'll be like, he will be the most like boring guy as well. And they'll be like, how did you find it? It was like, well, digging potatoes.
Yeah.
It's like, can you elaborate on that? It was like, it's a potato. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Right, we've got some NASA news. Obviously, it's been Elon Musk, or the techno king.
Yes,
he's been launching.
His name right now.
He's launched another 60 Starlink satellites into orbit around Earth, with the aim of Starlink project being like kind of global internet for people who can't get internet in remote areas as well as everywhere else. I mean, I've seen some videos on it. It's pretty cool. You only need a little satellite receiver, and a modem.
You ever heard of? I can't remember what the project's called though. Where in the 40s, they tried to do an internet, around the world, an electric current together. So they threw out like millions upon millions of copper, millions. Of them
it wasn't bought from this guy, was
around the world. I think it worked out to be 500 million small pieces of copper, to float all around the globe.
Right, to try and
got it to
get the conduction. What is it still there floating around?
There is still a lot there. There is quite a bit that's gone because what they've worked it out to be is that it worked for a number of hours and then it wouldn't work as well. So obviously it's dissipating and it's going into the cosmos.
Yeah.
So, but what they found lately is there's still parts of the materials still in our atmosphere at the moment.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I often wonder about like space junk, stuff that we've sent up that's just literally floating around now. I don't mean to be fucking but they sent a couple of chimps
we're scruffy
up.
Bunch of cunts, aren't we? Really?
Didn't they send a couple of chimps up?
Yeah.
So they're still floating around. You've got a couple of Russian cosmonauts at least floating around. You've got loads of crap, loads of fucking... And I wouldn't mind, because half of this stuff is built using precious metals, right?
Yeah,
so you're ejecting gold, platinum and silver and stuff into space, right? Yeah. We could do with that
right now,
right?
Yeah.
So there must be some sort of, goal in the future to try and clean up the space.
There's actually a
clean
program,
up space,
£20 million program.
Because... Like, going back to Elon here, the goal of Starlink is to obviously provide super fast global internet coverage, with very low latency and even to rural and remote areas that normally get no internet, right? So in order to do this, the company's planning to deploy tens of thousands of these mass-produced broadcast satellites into low Earth orbit, Now, that's a lot of crap, There's a lot of space junk.
Now they're doing the lower, and that's where our general satellites are. And the only reason, and this is the only reason why they're going to go up there and clean it up, is because they're destroying their own satellites, and that is the only reason why they put their money into it.
Well, the reason why, like you're saying there, we've done the upper Earth atmosphere, but the upper altitudes, but like traditionally, like you say, internet satellites struggle to provide that coverage because they're in high geostationary orbits. So
and imagine, and especially now,
around 22,000 miles above Earth, but obviously that's high latency. I mean, the latency is high, so obviously if they need it lower, So Starlink satellites are actually about 60 times closer to Earth than regular satellites. As a result,
regular satellites are about 250 miles up.
Yeah, well, they're actually 22,000 miles. Above Earth, whereas this is 60 times lower, so they're in a low Earth orbit, and they say that because of that, it means that they get super high latency, super low latency.
Yeah, and they need more of them as well because they need to spread it out more. And normally that like.
That's what I'm saying. That more of them,
if,
12,000 satellites. Do you know what I mean? Have been planned,
went in one go, and all the
have already
went.
been 12,000 have already been deployed, right? And another 30,000 more. The company Intel will basically put out about 1,440 satellites too.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of satellites, man. It was like we're going to have to just like carve our way through all this junk if we ever get out. So I think. But do you know what you're saying about that? That's 340 miles up.
Say again?
340 miles up in altitude.
340?
Yeah. Rather than the 22,000, which is about 60 times lower.
22,000 miles?
No. 22,000 miles is where a traditional satellite sits. Yeah,
no, 2,500 miles is where the moon is.
It's 22... Look, traditional Earth satellites are very high geostationary orbits around 22,000 miles above the Earth's equator, which means latency's high. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So where's the moon? How far's the moon away?
The moon's 250,000 miles away from us.
Right, so this is only 22,000 miles away, not 222,000 miles away.
Okay.
I don't know where the moon is.
I'll have a look on the calculations.
Hang on,
later.
I'll ask. Look, moon distance from Earth. Just so we get our facts right here.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. So the average distance between the Earth and the moon is 385,000 miles, 3.6 kilometers, which is 239.2. 2,039,000 22,003 miles, I think.
Right.
Yeah, 239,228.3 miles.
Depending on
that's how far away
where
we are. Where it is closest and furthest. Where satellites are in our high orbit of 22,000 miles. That makes sense?
Yes.
There we go. We'll get there in the end. Any NASA news you've got for us this week?
Oh, yes. They've last year they found a rock. Not just an ordinary rock, though. But this rock is 4.6 billion years old meteorite.
Yeah, is this the oldest meteorite, oldest rock ever?
Yeah, because this, which they found in Saudi Arabia desert in 2020, is 2 million years after the form of the solar system.
Right, okay, so,
but it's...
I say it's the oldest rock ever, because we're here and we're sat on Earth, aren't we? So there's nothing older than what we know.
But they believe the solar system was born and our planet was born 4.8 billion years ago. So you've got to put in...
so this rock's older than that?
This is estimated 2 million years after that. When things started, so nearer the beginning of when things started cooling down.
Ah, right, okay. So this is... right, that makes sense. So this is a kind of a remnant of all the crap that was left over, after everything formed But of that period, I get it.
Yeah, and the stuff within it is like we've never seen the stuff within it before. Not like it's not unknown, but it's never been formed in that kind of way. We've never found anything on the planet that's like it.
Oh,
basically,
cool.
It's a new kind of like rock, and they estimate to find a lot of information.
Could that mean any sort of new elements then?
Possibly, yeah. Well, don't forget they've only just checked on the outer side, really. I don't think they've gone in.
Because as well, it's like elements form through conditions, I suppose, in terms of like in geology and, all these. Any way they find a new element, it's usually through the way it was produced or formed, if you like. So the different pressures it was under or the different stresses and heats. So you'd think that if this has been floating out in all types of different fucking environments, then it could have been through a process that we couldn't replicate here on Earth.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, basically.
Do you know what I mean? So that could hold quite a lot of
a lot of potential. To tell us about our early Earth.
And who cuts it open?
Well, yeah,
cuts it open in a little.
I think they cut it from the side,
out.
slice by slice,
maybe
thin it out, and then check bit by bit.
Yeah, do a bit of dissecting on it. Excellent.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Anything else?
I have. Talking about the moon. The moon, since the 90s, we've known that the moon's got a tail.
A tail?
And we go through the moon's tail.
What?
Yeah, you know, like a comet.
Yeah.
Like a comet going through the sky, where it has a tail behind it, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because that's because it's moving.
The moon, but the moon goes around us. And we hit, and it hits us every 1 to 3 times a month.
Ah, right, okay. So
we see the back end of it. It's only sodium, but the reason why is because when we see more meteorites in the sky, well, when they hit the moon, which the moon is good at for doing that, when it hits the moon, it brings up all the dust.
Right,
okay. It brings up
because
and
it's
it
travelling
showers
around us.
and
it's
it showers
a tail.
past us. Yeah.
Right, okay, but like, can you say we go through it and it's sodium, right? Because don't they say that, like, obviously the moon affects mood and the cycle of the moon and all the rest of it? Could
apparently
it be some? Well, no, but I mean, could it be that there's some science in there to say that this, like, this shower of sodium, or I don't know, might have some sort of link, or is it because obviously that's kind of
now we know about
a chemical element that we're introducing on a monthly basis.
Well, it's very true.
Know.
Like, and are we being defended by our upper atmosphere, or is it going straight through us? And according to the papers up to now, that it goes right through. So it will be in your DNA, it'll be in all your, but you can't see it.
Anything but me DNA.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh,
hey.
Don't want anything going and sorting that out.
To come in here touching my DNA.
You love your DNA being touched.
Anyway, I'm going to turn into a fucking mutant. So, there you go. That's your NASA turn. I know, fucking fire me icy blasts at you, or me heat vision. Well, that's it. I think we've come to the end of the news for this week.
I think we have.
It's been a good show. Really enjoyed it. And obviously the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. Always good to talk about.
Yeah.
And thank you for the number of you who got in touch. Brian, Gareth, and the other countless emails we got just saying, can you cover the Phoenix Lights? It'd be a great episode. And you're right. It was.
Yeah.
Thank you to our featured podcast this week, which is Geek Exploration. Make sure you check those guys out. We can't do this without you guys and your help. We don't get very much of it. We'd prefer a lot more. If you could help us, you know what to do. You can go over to Patreon at Never a Straight Answer, or Never a Straight Answer over at patreon.com, or go to Buy Me a Coffee, Buy Me a Coffee / NASA Pod, and you can help us donate from there. We do really appreciate any support you do give us, and it's always welcome. Those who have done, you get massive shout outs and big love, and the people who do is Big J.
Yeah, Big J. Yeah.
Big shout out to Dunk. Big shout out to Swoosh, the original Patreon, our first one and only.
Oh, swooshy. Yeah, man.
Thank you for Harriet for playing Chain Connections and being our Thrice winner and having a big brain.
Yes, big brain. Yeah, we might have to call you now, Big Brain.
And I know, I didn't even give her a round of applause earlier. In fact, here.
Oh.
That's for you, Harriet. Well done for another win. Like I say, we're available on all podcast platforms. So make sure you check us out wherever you subscribe. We'll try and get out the Superpod stuff out so you can check it out. But the link is available on our Twitter, and you can watch it. We're about 12 hours in. So, if you just want to watch us. but there's a lot of really good shows on.
Yeah.
I do recommend checking out the Comedy Cold Callers. Check
And
out
you can still support
the
it
Comedy
now.
Arcade. Obviously us. And just make sure you check them
Top
out.
of the
And
bill,
obviously put your hand in your pocket and donate to those guys as well.
Yeah.
We're available
what you can.
on, if you want to ask us a question, get in touch, leave us a comment or suggestion. You can leave us an iTunes review. Email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. We're available on Twitter at NASA_never or Instagram at neverstraightanswer. You can go over to the website where we've got downloadable content, videos, and much, much, much more.
Much more.
Ooh. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're available. We've got hundreds of episodes, hundreds of such episodes now, so
Yeah,
lots to enjoy.
We're getting into the thousands soon.
Oh, bloody hell. Well, that's it. That's it for another week. We'll be back next week with a really good, pretty weird, scary topic, I've got to admit.
Yeah.
I don't know what's beyond the doorway.
It's going to be an interesting one.
It's going to be an interesting one. We'll find out next week.
We will.
Well, I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
We've been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Ooh.